All right, let me check in with the very short part 2, and then part 3 of The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. I think it's Blackwood. God. Um, wow. So he wakes up in the tent feeling this odd pressure on the tent, a pattering and a pressure, and he thinks, "Oh crap! A one of the actual trees, not the willows, but one of the actual large trees on this thing has perhaps half fallen over, and there's a branch that is just pressing down on the thing, but that when it gives way, it'll just squash the whole tent." And he just jumps out and runs and calling to his companion, calling to the Swede to follow him. But when he gets out and he twists around to look, there's nothing there, no tree branch or anything, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, "Well, luckily the Swede didn't wake up because then I would have somebody who could either confirm or deny what I'm seeing." And he doesn't want to confirm, especially when he turns around and he sees above the willows these strange bronze skins figures, giant figures that he can't see the faces of because I guess they're so giant, twisting and rising up into the heavens. And they just in swirls, rising up, and it really freaks him out. Uh, and he watches this. He ends up coming right out of the tent and standing there and looking, and just the awe and the dread and everything like this. And then he ends up scampering back into his tent again and falling asleep. Luckily, the Swede's still not waking up, and he goes back to sleep for a while. But then he wakes up again, and this time it's closer to dawn, and he comes out, and yeah, the figures are not there, but there's those they're in the middle of this big roaring storm. They're in a depression, so the main thrust of the wind is not hitting them, but it's all raging around them. And it's these willows, and they just damnable willows, which he just hates at this point. And he goes off to look at, like, how much the river has kind of torn loose the sand on the thing, and he's just feeling this dread and this kind of terror about this, like, we aren't meant to be here, that kind of feeling. And when he comes back, he's like in shock because he's convinced the willows have advanced closer to the tent. And he's like freaked out, and he's like looking, and he's like, what's the shortest distance that he can get to get there as quickly as he can. And he dives back in, and it's like he crawls stealthily back into his blankets. His companion's still asleep, and he's like, he was so glad, because provided my experiences were not corroborated, I could find the strength somehow to deny them, perhaps. With daylight, I could persuade myself that it was all a subjective hallucination, a fantasy of the night, a projection of the excited imagination. He's continually just like, I'm hallucinating. I must be hallucinating. This isn't happening. This is stuff. But he's also saying, like, they're attacking me through my mind. This is where the attack is coming through my mind. Yes. The idea, then a reaction. The idea was so bizarre, so absurd, I felt inclined to laugh. But the laughter came no readily than the cry, for the knowledge that my mind was so receptive to such dangerous imaginings brought the additional terror that it was through our minds and not through our physical bodies that the attack would come, and was coming. He is really feeling under pressure, and indeed he ends up he gets back into the bed, and it's like nothing further came to disturb me, and I fell asleep almost at once, utterly exhausted, yet still in dread of hearing that weird sound of multitudinous pattering, or of feeling the pressure upon my heart that had made it difficult to breathe. This is like one full night of panic attack about the awe of nature, and about nature coming to get you, or something even above nature coming to get you. So yes, wow. Then it's so fun to read out loud. Yeah, I know I'm probably just making a hash of it, but it's like so fun to read. I almost want to share it with people, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, but yeah, really enjoying this reading of The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. Am I Algernon? Yeah, Algernon Blackwood. Algernon Blackwood. Get the name straight in my head. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.